We have witnessed many campaigns to save the earth. There have been violent protests and strikes. People have taken to the streets to battle climate change. But one campaign in Israel has been making headlines. Welcome to WION's Climate Tracker. My name is Priyanka Sharma. Let's start off by telling you more about this campaign. It is a nude photoshoot by renowned American artist Spencer Tunick. It has hundreds of participants undressing for a campaign to raise awareness about the receding waters of the Dead Sea. Take a look at the visuals on your screen. Hundreds of ghostly figures of men and women painted head to toe in white, standing in the middle of the Israeli desert. This is not any other photo shoot. It featured white body paint on the nude volunteers to emulate salt pillars, which are a reference to the Dead Sea's natural springs.
I'm going to be using and working with the brave participants to form salt pillars, which reference the salt pillars formed by springs in the Dead Sea when fresh water enters the Dead Sea, which we need a lot of. And also it references the biblical story of Lot.
So we came here today to raise awareness for the Dead Sea that is disappearing because of many cultural, political, and economical reasons that are not of the interest of the public. It's a really important treasure here in the Middle East, and it's going to disappear really quite soon if we don't act now. So it was very important for us to come here and participate in this provocation of an art show.
For years, the conversation around climate change has been led by the West. They were the biggest polluters and they steered their agendas to suit their own narrative. But the continent that is bearing the brunt of climate change is Africa. Africa is likely to be the hardest hit by the climate crisis. A recent report by the United Nations Climate Agency states that Africa's fabled eastern glaciers will vanish in 2 decades. 118 million people could face imminent drought, floods, or extreme heat. And climate change could shave off 3% of the continental GDP by 2050. It forecasts that at the current rate, all 3 of Africa's tropical ice fields would be gone in the next 20 to 30 years. The new report highlights the continent's disproportionate vulnerability. Currently, Africa is warming at a faster rate than the global average. Africa accounts for less than 4% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions, but it has long been expected to be severely impacted by climate change. Its croplands are already drought-prone. Many of its major cities hug the coast, and widespread poverty makes it harder for people to adapt. The report estimates that Africa would need to spend $30 to $50 billion each year on adapting to avert even the worst of consequences.
Africa, as this report emphasizes, is warming more and at a faster rate than the global average. This calls for more urgent and appropriate policy responses both in Africa and globally. Beyond being a snapshot of climate trends, extreme weather, and associated risks and impacts in key sensitive sectors, the report highlights lessons for climate action in Africa. It provides an important milestone for resilient pathways.
Currently, African countries want a new system. This will be to track the funding coming in from wealthier nations. Africa says the West is failing to meet the $100 billion annual target to help the developing world deal with the fallout. In 2009, developed countries agreed to raise $100 billion per year by 2020. This was to help the developing world deal with global warming.
We need to have a clear view, clear roadmap, how they will put on the table the 100 billion per year, how we can track the 100 billion per year. And without that, the COP26 will not be a success for Africa. We don't have time to lose on negotiation anymore if they have to put that, if they already put that on the table. We need to find a way to track it.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.